that is working. Now let's see if we get a notice and all that stuff.
Oh. I think that was the wrong one.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to change my color.
Well, you gotta change your name before you get too far.
Yep.
Alright, we are live. Yes, so we are live, buddy. Just in time with the right name.
Dun, dun, dun.
Alright, well, welcome everybody. This is a special Streams of Spero, kind of out of order, and you'll notice it is just me and Greenwood and Miller from Tabletop Journeys here playing still Hephaestus Kenrick. Because the last time we left, Leonika decided to make HK do a bold move here, and he decided that with the relations with the Fey court really poor, they are attacking Greenwood. He wants to make Greenwood his home. He's going to have to resolve this, and we're going to be curious to how the trust factor or the things that was going through Hephaestus' mind as he decided he's going to venture on his own to do this. So he's off into the forest. He's now caught up with the elves, the Eladrian, and ready to go into the FeyWylde to see what's happening here, right?
You got it. Pardon me.
All right. So I had you meeting the Eladrin, right? Or you had not yet met them. So we will start with that. So basically, you will go probably about. It won't take you long. It's going to take you about 20 minutes, and then some of those Spring Court Eladrin and Pepper will be there to meet you. And obviously with bows aimed at you, arrows knocked, but Pepper will come stride towards you. She will not have a weapon drawn at you. She will go, Hephaestus.
Pepper. It makes me happy to see you. The way you left us hurt.
It was very sudden, is all I remember. It was dark, and then I woke up in the courts, I suppose.
As one who has experienced this himself, I understand.
Oh, yes.
It is different. We are different.
Yeah. And I think then you understand that the service now I am more obliged to be in.
I do. I came back with a mission as well.
I do not see any of the others with you. You plan on doing this alone?
The mission must continue. I have faith in my ability to return, but I also know that they must proceed rapidly. So I have chosen to do this alone. I am the one who chose to join the court. And other than Firebrand himself, I bear the most responsibility. So I will stand for what has happened.
Okay. With that, she pretty much nods and then takes the path with one of the other scouts going side by side with her to take the lead. And then as you follow, at least 10 other Eladrian elves will follow you. And you were probably aware of like 8 of them, so a couple more seem to be very skilled in the aspects of stealth, even with your passive.
I note, but do not acknowledge. Don't offer surprise. Don't offer shock. Not even specific acknowledgement at this point. I'm focused on the mission at hand, which is get where I'm going and try to get them to continue rendering aid and back off of Greenwood.
Is there any? Did you want Hephaestus to interact with Pepper before they get to the courts, or are you okay with the silence of silence?
I think silence in general. I mean, Hephaestus died. He fought with the Force of Legions, and as far as he understands, his life ended. And then later, and not even truly sure of how many years later, he was back. So he doesn't know exactly what happened, doesn't know exactly how that happened. All he knows is he was back. So he has always had this burden, and he really feels a kinship with Pepper over that. Even though obviously her time away has not been likely to have been as vast as his. But it's also something that he doesn't know how to express very well. So it's like, if asked, he'll speak on it, but he himself won't volunteer a whole lot about that. Okay. He's also very aware that a lot of his questions will seem tactical in nature, and he doesn't want to alarm anyone. Like, he doesn't want to ask Pepper, like, hey, how good are your troops? You know, he's specifically not acknowledging that because he doesn't want anybody to think he's sizing up for a fight. His version of going in open-handed is to really not comment on things or try not to. He's going to take notice, but he's going to try not to be obvious about that.
Okay. With your perception, though, and because you're walking with her a while, you will notice that Pepper's facial features and hair style are very similar to what she used to have. But she is, you will notice pointed ears now, especially when she walks, as the hair will come across, and you remember she was human. So she has gone through some racial species change. So whatever, you kind of remember something about Firebrand as well in that change like that, but so something, she's not come back fully, and that may also, and it also kind of indicates that she has more link or cause to the Eladrin courts that she is coming from.
Yeah, I don't think Hephaestus would have any knowledge of that, but Leonika thinks that's probably a resurrection, so she just came back as another ancestry.
Okay.
But I don't think Hephaestus would have any knowledge base there, unless he came across something while he was dealing with the Drow or something like that, would have come up with them. But
Firebrand did tell you a story of his background, correct? So that's where I'm giving you some type of little small origin to. Not fully the spell components.
Yeah.
But
so I know Firebrand came back, and I know he was different, but I don't think I ever got the details, like what he was versus what he is. I know what he is. I don't know what he was.
Okay.
So I when he said different, I was thinking mentally different. I'm a changed man.
Okay.
That type of thing. I was basically personalizing it to my experience. Which is not what took place, but that's kind of how Hephaestus is looking at it.
Got it. All right. So the thing about the FeyWyldes, it is oddly weird. It seemed like moments that you were in some type of beautiful glade, flowers, designs on the buildings. You kind of remember a lot of it, how the elven style kind of is, the twirls, the spiral, very Rivendale-ish, if our tokens speak, but a little bit more with I'm gonna say more marble and stonework of that nature. There's no bronze, there's no metal work or anything like that in the adorned ships and all that stuff like that. It's very carved-esque, and you can definitely feel the magic resonating and as you have the marble thing, there's recessions in there of elven glyphs, of writing, of histories and deeds, very much like that of tapestries and stuff that you will come across. She kind of brings you to the court. A lot of the Eladrin elves, centaurs, satyrs, they're all kind of looking at you. Note you. Give me an insight check to kind of read the crowd, I guess. We'll kind of go with that.
That's going to be a dirty 20.
Yeah, okay. So you pretty much get an idea that people have come out to see you for for what is going on. Like, your news and information seems to be the buzz of the Fey people. So, you're kind of like a celebrity or wanted criminal or something of that nature, or something in between, that the people are very aware of who you are. So you wouldn't be able to get away with anything, or even you think your friends, had they been here for anything of that sort. Pepper kind of brings you, after a moment, into one of the buildings, and inside there's a lot of books, scrolls put out and stuff like that, and she goes, I am bringing you to Lady Hestus. She wished to see you before you saw the Queen.
Okay.
And she'll kind of open the door and just kind of like motion for you to go in, but it doesn't look like Pepper's going to go in with you.
He looks quizzitively at Pepper to kind of get an eye for, is this normal or is this okay?
Give me.
Like, is she worried?
Well, give me an insight check as well into her. I'll give you. Nah, you've missed her for a while, so I'm not gonna give you advantage.
That's a 23 without advantage.
All right. She looks like this is something like a favor towards you that you feel pretty, like, you don't feel malice or deception in the case. Well, you do a little bit. Like, you do feel like this is unorthodox, but you do feel like it's in your benefit and not for whatever the situation basically is. And you sense that Pepper is still a friend in that regard.
Okay. I kind of figured she was. My guess was if she was ordered to do something that she couldn't get out of, I would see that written on her face. That was kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But if this is something that she's doing for me, then that wouldn't come up as a concern. So I'll walk in.
All right, cool. All right, so basically, like I said, it's a big library. Lots of books. There are scrolls about and things of that sort. Do you have proficiency in history?
I do.
All right. So why don't you give me a roll on that with advantage, because you have proficiency in it.
That is a 21.
Nice. You are killing it. So you're seeing a lot of texts that are familiar that you remember in Forstad during your times in the academy. Like, you are getting texts about your people in Forstad, the Drow city that you've combated with. You're seeing books on the human dynasties that is there. You are seeing a huge amount of section dedicated to the St. Augustine Elven Kingdom. And then you've seen books on old kingdoms, lost kingdoms, it seems like. Seems that you remember in sort of like really, really ancient things in the text that you remember reading a little bit about, but wasn't really a big subject, because you were always more current affairs at the time. And then there's things that seem to boggle your mind about dimensional touches, like connections and stuff. And one thing that did kind of stick out because of some current situations, as we talked about, things about the levels of hell, the abyss, demon lore, devil lore. There's a lot of things in some sections that you're seeing also in this library. Sitting amongst these books in a very, very soft, comfortable, it seems to be very well padded, lined with some of the finest silk that you've ever seen, is a beautiful woman with white hair. And she is... Sure, I got her background pretty well. So she is also a snow white hair elven woman. So very small in stature, things like that, but you can definitely feel the eminence of power in her. And you remember seeing her before. That was the Lady Lady Hestis from your first interactions with the Fey Court. And she motions for you to sit. There's another chair that seems to be able to somehow accommodate you. Maybe not silk, but it definitely looks soft and padded, as much as you can.
Before I take a seat, I will doff my helmet, hold it in my left arm, bow reverently, and in Elven, Milady Hestis, I thank you for your time and your audience. I hope I may be of service to you. And then I will take the seat that she's bid me.
She goes, I like you, Hephaestus. You have always been kind, true to your word. I know you are a soldier of honor and loyalty. It is not so much what you can do for a service for me. I am kind of here to do one for you. The tasks of things at hand are delicate, and we are trying to recover much and try to put your friends and yourself in the best position possible. But when warnings kind of came to you in odd ways, your closest friend, no way to say it, but chose poorly. Are you aware of Fey contracts?
I'm aware of the concept. Of course, I'm holding this conversation in Elven.
Okay.
But I'm aware of the concept. I know not of many that specifically, other than that which I have held to, which is I would protect Firebrand's life with my own if need be. And I personally took that to mean protect his mission as well. Even though he chose to abdicate that mission, I intend to carry on that mission on behalf of the court as long as the court will have me. And even if I were to be dismissed from the court, which I sense within my person that has technically happened, I would still carry out that mission as though I were still acting directly for the Summer Queen, though I will not claim her name unless she bid me to do so.
I understand. But do you understand the gravity of that vow?
I know that failure to meet one's obligation can be tremendously poor.
Yes.
That said, as I will never break my own vows, I can't fathom the level that would get to, because I can't see to breaking of that vow. It is hard for me to comprehend. It is, unfortunately, the bridge that I struggle to cross. And I feel that I may have let both Firebrand and the Summer Queen down, because to me, the concept of breaking one's vow is not possible, that I didn't express that well enough to Firebrand when he made his decision. That's my failing. I should have tried harder.
The lad is young. But what I say to you is, if you feel it's that fathomable, I hope that you will understand the wrath of Tatiana.
I wield the two elven blades, and I am now a speaker for Tyr, where honor and justice are everything. He's a power that exemplifies all the things that I have always tried to be. I know the wrath that can come from a failure of this magnitude. If for no other reason, because I wield the weapons that were designed to exact that wrath.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that you understood this before you meet her. For of the courts, Summer is the most fiery, most temperamental, and one quick to anger, so to speak. Spring, we like to mend, we like to heal, we like to bring things that might find ways to blossom for the better. That is our policy on our way. But I want you to understand that we do, as Fae, try to trick things into our favor. To have fun, to have sport. One contract that we enter, there are loopholes, and we will exploit them. That is our way. And we expect, in honor, in respect, that if you're able to do so back to us, one can find much credit in that regard. But for the Fae people, when, like you, say something will be done, something will be upheld, you will hold to that word, the word. Then there is no getting out of that for a Fae.
May I ask if you know the exact contract that Firebrand made?
He promised to serve the queen of the summer court when he became the knight. If he didn't fully take that role, he would have been more free to make his liberal choices in the way he did it. But Kiziada did not lie to you when she said you were being influenced, and him knowing that type of knowledge and forsaking it for it, he basically cast away his queen. Because for a knight of the Fae, there is only one service for a knight, to his queen, to his death, much like his predecessor before him.
Is there no allowance for completion of the mission given?
Again,
Even if that...
Again, the mission and the completions are up to you to have the fun, the honor, the loopholes that you guys, that anyone is able to go into with a contract with a Fae. But the one thing you must always hold up is your word to who you serve.
Okay.
I do not believe that Eleron knew the context of his full contract that he has gotten into and the powers that you have taken. Are you aware of them as well?
I know that I possess the sin of pride. Upon my shoulders, I am called in a direction. But I chose that sin because someone had to take it. Someone in our party had to take it from Azarian in order to woo him to our side. And I knew that I am a great warrior. Arguably the best warrior. Pride in my mission, pride in my standing, pride in my friends, my brothers that I fight with and I fight alongside with. Pride in what I stand for. While it can be a sin, I alone have the ability to harness that. And while I may say some things that seem a little over the top to some, I will use what I have taken in a way that nobody expected, in a way that Azarian himself wasn't capable of using it, because he was flawed to begin with. I don't have those flaws.
This is why Silk wanted these ordeals to be done by you, by all of you. But I wish, in your pride, in your skill, There is no question that you are indeed, perhaps now, Spero's most deadliest swordsman that it has ever seen. And for Silk, that is her hope. When I ask you if you know what the stones are, you do know what they are essence of her pride, and each ones of the sins that she can have to make up part of her soul. But did you realize when you took the Sin Stone very long ago as the first, did the court reject anything of your standings? Did the issue come to fruition then, long ago?
No.
It happened when?
When Firebrand was told by taking his stone, it would cause him to forsake the queen.
And
that was unique.
And because of his title of who he was. Do you understand that?
My understanding is that all of us, as the Summer Queen sees it, all of us were in service to Firebrand, and Firebrand in service to the Summer Queen. I, of course, having the highest expectation among the group. We were all supposed to take the sins, and he was supposed to lead us in this mission.
Common mortality of thinking. No, my friend. He was supposed to remain a knight. There are loopholes to many of this. The way to win the full thing was to have possibly just yourself take all the stones. You might have been the one ability to swallow much of what Silk did and have less of the repercussions of the future. I told you I am of the Spring Court, so part of my essence in things is to blossom the future, to move things forward. So I've seen some of the futures that can happen. Because you know you have rewritten yours when you guys first visited here. You recall that, yes?
I do. My life, my essence, and he touches his Gora on his forehead, changed when we came here.
Yes. And now your quest has changed again, because what Silk wants is to make more of what she needs for the war to come. You are aware of the war that is coming. That is why you chose the stones, yes?
Yes. I know that there's a battle to follow. I've always focused on the missions at hand versus the larger picture, because it's easy to lose focus looking at everything versus what you need to do in that moment. And once we had all the stones, the next phase would reveal itself. I'm always prepared for a battle. I'm always prepared for a war.
She kind of gets up. She has a book in hand. She strides so elegantly, so smooth, quite easily, like with hardly a sound. And your perception, again, is astounding. She is like a breath. She lays the book in front of you as you look down. And again, quickly, with your observations, pick up that it is a military history book of Forstat. Names that you recognize from a long ago. She goes to a point as she delicately lays her elegant fingers across some of the names, and she goes, "You have read many of these names. You were fond of them. Many of them dwarves, a few gnomes, and those warforged like yourself that have served for the legions. You remember, as a young warforged, how they came into their ranks. Young men, privates, young women, till they become corporals, till they became squad leaders, and to the point where they had to lead the Legion themselves. My friend, Hephaestus Kenrick of the Greystokes, you are no longer of a small squad leader. You're about to lead kingdoms. The men that you lead, the women that you lead, the allies by your side are going to shake the foundations of this realm. You must put your input now. Your teachings, the lessons that you have learned, all those that you have absorbed, now make you the general Greystoke to the cause to come. Before I let you to go to the Queen to face her ire, I will part you one gift. The gift of the future. I'm going to tell you something that you must understand. That the path can no longer change. I know thou, as you hold the sin of pride, that you will hold this. But to your friends, to your allies that you will go back to, you must understand what this future will bring, and you must hold them to this course now, because it is the path that they have taken. If they falter now, if they second guess their role, disaster will affect Spero, and of course all your friends. But worse, your wife and child. The stones that you've taken, the sin stones, they are more than just the corrupted versions of silk. You, my friend, are the first of her titans. There will be 7 titans to silk. You 7 titans will shake the foundations of Spero as she pits you against the old gods.
And we will ready ourselves, and I will train them.
Good. But this is also why Tatiana is upset. Because as the new gods would be to come, we were hoping for the courts, the Fey court, to have a seat, to be able to play a power, than to always be hidden and pushed aside by many of the gods that we know. That is where her angle is.
If the Titans hold pieces of silk, cannot the Fae maintain their hold over someone who has one of them? If not Firebrand, another?
Firebrand has forsaken his title. He had to be pure. The way this would have worked was all those that are holding under silk are going to be silk's titans. The Raven Queen has warned her agents, and they have decided not to take the stones. So as silk comes into power and shakes Hades, and the foundations of the other gods come to bear, the Raven Queen will stand strong with silk, because her champions will be pure.
So those among us who are now of the court, the new ones who have recently arrived, they could stand for the court.
If they stay pure. And if their allegiance is as dedicated as you can be.
I fear, and I do not mean this in a pejorative sense, I respect and love the Fae for what and who they have been and are. but a bit of the mercurial nature of some of those agents is challenging.
It is the
Those
way of
who
the
were those who were of the those who are of the wind will often find it hard to stand firm in a place. The wind can be stronger than stone. The wind can bend metal. The wind can push aside water, and the wind can extinguish fire. But yet the wind sometimes goes around the stone and the metal, and sometimes fuels the fire. The Fae are often like the wind. The times they need to bend and break things, the times they need to fuel or push things, is up to the wind itself. And it makes it very hard to find that one who will do the thing you need them to do in that moment.
Now you understand. For Queen Tatiana thought she had what she thought would be one. As a spark, as the one light, whose fire would burn strong throughout all the ordeals and the challenges that would come.
And I tried to be his example. In so much as Firebrand let the Queen down, I let her down. I was not enough in enough time.
Well, be careful of your words with her, for Tatiana will expect much in penance, and you have many who depend on you. So fault can be yours, but be careful how much of that you take on, because that is the problem with your friend Delarin. He did not take that responsibility enough. And
He took the position.
There are friends who will use their other friends to take on these burdens and blames while they carry on their lives and leave the others to suffer.
I will watch my words, but I must be honest in all things. I need to shoulder some of this burden. I shall not shoulder all of it. It's not all of mine to bear. The Queen did choose him to be the leader. And I did show a path. And I did counsel him against it. But she rightfully must have a penance. She is the Queen, and she is deserving of that. In that, we shall find a way.
I agree. Sir Greystoke, I have belief in you. I have an understanding of you. That is why I gave you this audience, to prepare you as best I can. Because Spring Court still likes you and your friends. But we are also in service to the Sun Queen.
Milady, I thank you for taking the time to shed some light on these dark days. I'm a soldier. I always see the mission. I don't always see the plan. By giving me the plan, the way is much clearer.
Good luck. Oh, before you go, and she, again, ever so slightly, gets around the desk, leans over, catch a wind of this beautiful flower scent. You're not even sure exactly what it is, but she is exotic. apparently pulling something from the drawer of the desk. It is a purest white stuffed rabbit. Like person.
Okay.
For your son. Keep it in his crib until he is 1.
I shall.
That way he will grow up knowing that he has the favor of spring.
I thank you.
And with that, like, in timing, the door opens, and Pepper and the guards are waiting for you.
As I walk out, I bow deeply, and I offer a salutation. Lady, thank you again. This soldier has learned much, forgotten things, learned much, much more, and I continue to learn. I pray that the lessons you have shown me today will never number among the things I forget. And I will fight with all of my strength to ensure that they remain in the things I always remember.
And she nods. Walk tall and proud, Titan.
And as he exits, he will say, he doesn't turn to say it, but as he exits, any who would serve the spring court are honored by me and honorable in their service to you, milady.
Okay. As you follow Pepper?
I ask her to give me a moment. I take a piece of parchment paper out of my pack or whatever, wrap the rabbit, and I take some time to open up a section of my leg so that I can put it inside that.
Okay.
And so that it's secured and safe.
All right. Pepper will ask, are you ready?
As the halflings would say, as I'll ever be.
Fair enough. Again, you go through the beautiful city of the Fae, but you still get all the crowd attention going through, and there are hundreds and hundreds of Fae of all sorts watching your procession to what apparently is going to be the summer court. You get there, and you are familiar with the big, beautiful court, high sky ceiling, with a sunroof opening up, bathed in the brightest of lights, but just warm enough. With the windows adjacent to the side, strong marble statues lining to the sides of apparently historical Fae, satyrs, centaurs, Harringtons, and such, all the side. It takes you within moments before you see the huge throne and the beautiful redhead woman who sits atop of it. She is also she is human, human looking, and enchanting, but yet as imposing as all hell. Like, it is like looking at her, knowing that it is beautiful as the sun, but in the same eyes, painful, feeling that gaze directed towards you.
I, of course, lower my head and bow deeply.
Pepper goes, my queen, Titania of the Sealy Court, queen of the summer, the guiding light of all that is Fae. I bring forth Hephaestus Kenrick Greystoke of Greenwood and of the heroes and loyal bodyguard to that of Alaron. And then she steps away as you are kneeling before her. Titania waits, giving you strong 5 minutes of uncomfortable silence. You can, again, She is a woman, a powerful being. And you feel as if it is like sunshine on a hot summer beach. You can just feel that. And you're Warforged. This is the most weirdest sensation, uncomfortable sensation you've ever had to experience. You remember her presence before, it was fine. This seems to be definitely a much different demeanor that you're getting. Then finally she breaks the silence. HK, you are bold to come here to parley in a truce, when I had more rather have you brought here and your friend in chains.
Milady,
I am more than just your lady.
my queen, my sovereign, it would have been more bold for me to deny making this audience, asking, pleading for this audience. It would have been more bold of me to assume I could escape your gaze, escape your justice, escape the responsibilities that you would have me answer for. It would be more bold of me to not be before you on bended knee, not to beg for my life, not to beg for the life of others who failed you, to beg for understanding for the innocent people that we also protected, to beg the understanding for all those in this realm for whom our continued efforts on this grand quest will still benefit, and to understanding for the fact that while I may have failed to do all of the things you have asked, it has never been a choice of mine to fail you. It has never been a desire of mine to fail you.
Then Hephaestus, your words are elegant, like warm rays and flowers. But they do not seem to penetrate what I come to understand is the choices. What am I to understand if these is the path that my knight would have taken, his companions so willingly followed, and then expect nothing from me? To expect mercy? Where is the crime to be answered if I am to understand this correctly?
That is why I am here, milady. I am here to tell you that I shoulder a portion of this burden. I shoulder a portion of this responsibility. I'm here to let you know I am here to answer for that. I stand before you, a Warforged, formerly of the Legions. I stand before you, a paladin of Tyr, of honor, of justice, of law, and of order, bound to those things. I stand before you, a humble husband who seeks to make a world for his wife. I stand before you, a humble father who seeks to prepare a world for his child. And I stand before you, a mighty servant of the greatest queen the Fae has known, humbled by the mission I was not yet prepared to handle, willing to submit to your justice so that I may correct that matter. So with your aid, or with your decision, find another Fey, another knight, who, unlike the wind that went around, that fueled a fire, that broke on the stones, that merely pushed a wave instead of moved the waters, that I will help you seek out the Fey that will extinguish the fire, break the rocks, dissipate the waves, and stand like the wind, strong against any storm, against any foe. I wasn't prepared for that mission before these days, before this visit to your court. It was hubris to think that I had that knowledge before. If I am guilty of anything, it is I am guilty of that hubris. Now I stand before you, better than I was before, more knowledgeable than I was before, more powerful than I have ever been. And I am still humbled in your presence. But I know my growth is infinite. I can correct this wrong if you give me leave to do so.
I know you can correct the wrong, Sir Greystoke. The old name. I know if I put you on a very dire path with what's at stake, you will come to that challenge. But the challenge here, Sir Greystoke, is the word that was already broken. What does Tyr say to that in the service to a knight who fails his queen?
That knight must follow the penance of that queen's rules. That knight must answer for those crimes.
So you will kill him for me.
I,
as a paladin of Tyr, to fulfill justice.
I ask the queen humbly to commute that sentence. I ask the queen humbly not to let justice be escaped, but to find a better way, as opposed to taking away somebody who can satisfy the queen's other goals, the realm's goals.
The realm's goal that will no longer have us? We will be hidden away.
But they can. I have made my home in Greenwood for the express purposes of being the gateway for the Fae, so that I can continue to protect you and stand for you long after these matters are handled. We would live in concert with the Fae and your realm. I am building a line of warriors whose goal it is to protect the area of Greenwood and the path to the Fey realms. I can help you find somebody else to stand for you. Yes, a price must be paid. Bid me study. Bid me learn your ways more than I have ever done before. Bid me test your people to see if they are the wind that will stand.
I bid you your blood. Will you honor this commitment in blood.
On my life, I will stand and protect this court. On my life, I will find you your Fae. I will find you your knight.
You will create my Fae. You will create my knight, and she will be of your blood.
Yes,
You honor that?
I will.
Done. And with that, there's a big, bright, orangey aura, and there's an instant touch between her and you. You're feeling this bonding going on. And then she rises, and she is like the rising of the sun. It is just a glow and just ominous warmth coming towards you. But the former knight will not fully relinquish what he has done. In your service to me to repair what has happened, and now that you have promised the future knight for the summer court, your daughter will be the summer knight. Your daughter Greystoke will bind the new worlds that are coming. That is the contract. But to fulfill its last part of this passing, these enchanted bracers must go upon the wrist of your friend, so that he knows of the thing that he has done.
It shall be.
His soul will not leave the earth. That you can rest assured. I know your bond with him is true. What he will ordeal is what it is to be withered by the sun of the Summer Queen. Is that understood?
It is.
Sir Greystoke, you are the peacemaker, the pride of so much of the realm. You will be the favorite, it seems. It is why she likes you so much, and she has passed the old name to you. It will take you time to get back to your friends, but I can expedite that. Unless you need time.
I need some time here to reconnect with this part of my essence. But my friends are in need of help. I am not worthy of asking this question, but I must ask because what we face is vast, is grave, and is critical and important. Will you send another to aid them while I learn more from your people in your realm?
I will send one of my best. He leads my elite. He will go. And in turn, though, I will also send Pepper that they know of from the Spring Court. Those two will go, and they will exchange for you and your wife. And they will explain that you are making the peace by giving me the new knight.
My wife is to be brought here?
You will have your children here in the Fae. And
As
all
it should be.
things will be settled. You You will have your peace. You will have Greenwood protected. It will seem like a long time here. You will not be able to return until they have vanquished the Beholder. But at the end of such things, you will have made the peace with the courts of the Fae, as you had desired when you entered.
I am blessed by your words, honored by your actions. Thank you, my queen.
She gives you a gem. It is red, a bright red ruby. Then she calls, Kyrian, to me. And then you can explain this elf that shows up, this Eladrian.
So, Kyrian is an Eladrin, and he, bear with me one moment, I'm going to bring up my picture of him so I can describe him fully.
And I did change him to Summer Eladrin, I think from where you were before.
Okay.
The stats have already been changed, but it was
Excellent. Let's see here. Where do we go? Kieran is an old Summer Eladrin. He has green, almost like short dreadlocked hair that's kind of spiked up. He is clothed in leathers and leather armor, but it looks more flowy and leaf-like. They're thick leaves. It has the effect of leather armor, but it is an unnatural type of material. He carries a bow and a single elven blade. He is at one all at once. He is both quiet in his approach, but proud in his stance, and he has stark purple eyes. Once he approaches, he lowers his head, drops to one knee in the presence of the queen, and he does not avert his eyes upward unless bid to do so.
And with that, she produces a very similar, identical red ruby gem. She hands it out and says, Tyrion, take this, please.
Of course, my lady. My queen.
And then she turns to Hephaestus and goes, this ruby will allow once every day for your comrades to speak to you, so they know that this is not out of malice. Kyrian, you will explain this to them, and Hephaestus, you may prepare this conversation for them when he arrives. Is that understood?
Yes, my queen.
You are to serve... What is that drow elf woman's name?
Lady Zindred, my queen.
Yes, Lady Zindred. You are to serve her and her ambitions. They are going after the Beholder. You and Pepper will do everything in your power to make sure that this mission succeeds. Even if it means forfeit of your life.
Of course, my queen. I will make sure of it.
Good.
Do you have orders regarding the Forsaken One?
That will be taken care of when the mission is accomplished and this Hephaestus returns. He has asked a sort of mercy, and the return of Vivian, his wife, will put us a new course of an even stronger night. So, this changing of the guard, Kyrian, will be more beneficial for us in the long term. But at the end, when all this is said and done, We will talk later. You just need to make sure that the lady is satisfied. The others in the party are flawed.
Those who originate from the Fey realms are far more likely to avoid the flaws of mortals, my queen. And I will ensure that those who are distantly related to the Fae are reminded of their expectations in a kind, gentle, yet direct way.
Just don't upset the drow lady, and everything else is on the table. Kidding.
My queen, you have made her my liege, and I will follow her rules and orders and edicts.
Excellent.
In all things save that which would counter yours.
Okay. Hephaestus, Sir Greystoke, does this satisfy your request?
It exceeds anything I could have asked for, my queen.
And then you will satisfy mine. Dismissed. And with that, you may back up and return.
Hephaestus, for the first time in this entire conversation, rises from his bent knee and will bow and exit. He will never turn his back on his sovereign. He will exit backing up, and then when he gets past the threshold, he will turn at that point.
You will, your passive perception, and once again, it's just phenomenal. As you have backed and stepped away, you've gone about 30 feet, and you're pretty much out of the queen. But you catch one of the very glossed walls. And you instantly notice, because you're so used of a very white to metallic look of things as you walk past, is going with pretty much like that. But you quickly realize you don't look quite the same. You still look like some different warforged, like statuesque of yourself. Your body is more sculpted as a bodybuilder, like you're used to as a soldier, but it doesn't have a lot of more of those robotic warforged features. You feel a very chiseled, we'll say, Schwarzenegger-looking jaw, even metallic-looking black hair, but your skin is like gold, but it looks sort of like skin, but goldish. You feel like you're an embodiment of some type of Titan itself, of the books that you have read long, long ago. Could not believe, but now you feel you are indeed Fey once again.
Excellent.
Alright, folks, that will conclude our little single one-shot. My second time I've done such things. Thank you, Limanika, for taking a little bit of time with this. Excellent role-playing as well.
I give it a go.
And we will see everyone again tomorrow, as the full group will be in session, but you will see Limanika playing Kyrian. So we'll see how that goes, as we've seen new characters coming in, having such a difficult time, and Kyrian seems to be another one of those friendly type of individuals, so we'll see how that happens.
Good night, everyone. Thanks so much.
All right.